pleased to have in studio with us today Attorney General Gentner Drummond. Good morning.
Todd, it's so great to be back in Custer County. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming in. We had a chance to talk, like a month or so ago, and then there were two, right? That is you and your opponent are running on August 25th for the primary runoff election, and it's got to be a little bit of a relief now. What was it, 9 candidates at first?
Yes, it was busy. It was busy.
Well, let's dive into things because I know you've been going all over the state, talking with folks, hearing their concerns. One of the first things I'm sure people mention, taxes. Are we going to get to zero income tax? Are we going to do away with property tax? All these different plans out there. You recently unveiled your tax plan for the state.
Well, first let me juxtapose where my opponent is, where his head is. A year ago, he said, vote for me, zero income tax, zero property tax. And then everybody said, well, who's going to fund education, roads and bridges, our law enforcement offices? And he goes, oh, well, what's Drummond doing? Okay, I'm going to do what Drummond does on property tax. So we're going to freeze it for fixed income elders and veterans. We'll increase the homestead exemption from $1,000 to $2,500. That's real meaningful relief. We don't want to price any senior out of their home. We want to take care of people. But a lot of seniors can afford to pay the property taxes, so that's fine. On income tax, my opponent is saying zero income tax in the next 3 years. And then when people say, well, how are you going to fund state government? He has said, I'm going to remove all exemptions from the tax code. I'm going to remove Schedule F from the Oklahoma tax code. To the farmers and ranchers listening, that means you no longer get your farm exemption. To churches, you're not going to get your exemption. When we go in to get our haircut, our barber or beautician is going to have to charge us tax. Our accountant's going to have to charge us tax. When I advertise with you, you're going to have to charge tax. I mean, it's transfer of income tax to consumption tax. That doesn't benefit Oklahoma. What I am suggesting is if we increase our performance in education, healthcare, and mental health, we'll have a bigger workforce. We'll attract more people into Oklahoma. We can build our economy with partnering with our Native American tribes, supporting Oklahoma companies, and increase our corporate revenue that will then take the pressure off of individual income tax.
And with regards to income tax, we got some news over the past week that with the latest income tax reduction, our revenues actually increase. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. Our individual income tax increase, our corporate revenue decreased 7%. So what that tells, to the listener, we've got individual income tax as a source of revenue, corporate income tax as a source of revenue, and then we have gross production tax as a source of revenue. You would think with the war going on in Iran, oil and gas would be much more expensive, but in fact, it's not. It's the market is exhausted with these spikes and otherwise, and America's become a net producer of oil and gas, so we're not subject to those fluctuations. But our gross production tax dollars are not going up. So we have to be careful. If we kick one of the legs of the stool out, is it as wobbly as it was before or more? So we have to be careful. I am all for zero income tax. And we have to have a plan, and we have to have patience and grow our economy to do that.
Yeah, it does take time for something like that. So you're not saying in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. It really depends on the economy.
I think we have to be responsible. I think people appreciate driving on good roads and bridges. I think they appreciate good education. I think they value state agencies that do great work in the healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare transfers. All of these things require the state to be funded. But there is a path for zero income tax. We just have to grow our economy.
Talking with Attorney General Gentner Drummond. He is a candidate for governor of the state of Oklahoma. We're down to 2 on the Republican side. The runoff is coming up on the 25th. You mentioned education. That's always a hot topic in Oklahoma. Now, I want to ask you, and this is a serious question, okay? Your opponent has claimed that all superintendents and school leadership in the state are communist and socialist. Do you hold that same view?
I was here in Custer County last week, spoke to the Rotary, spoke to a meet and greet also, and in that audience was your superintendent of public education. Even the Watonga superintendent came over, and I know these men. and they're remarkable leaders. They are not socialists. They're not communists. To say that, I mean, this is what we're going to get. We suffered 3 years of Ryan Walters, tearing down our teachers, tearing down our public education system. You elect Mike Mazie, you get 8 years of Mike Mazie doing the same thing that Ryan Walters did. He does not value public education. I am a public education product. Probably 95% of you on the radio right now are public school products. We have to keep a strong public school. We need to honor our teachers, thank our school board members, respect our leadership in the administration of schools. We need to recruit young professionals into this industry. We need to provide incentive for those near the end of their career to stay. And we need to focus on the development of our young children. The 1-year-old to the 5-year-old, we know 60% of the brain is developed by 5. That's when they start kindergarten. So to the children in our communities that are sitting in front of a screen and not being stimulated and developed, not being properly nourished, not being disciplined, are coming into our school system and being disruptive. So my school plan really starts with that 1-year-old with quality daycare and access to quality daycare. Not every family has a parent being able to stay at home. And we need to have these young people taken care of to the homes that can. That's awesome. But 60% of our children don't have that benefit. And it really holds us back.
So how do we accomplish that? Because only so much revenue in the state. We don't want to raise taxes. How do we do something with daycare for those children?
Right. So we provide a subsidy if you make at or below the federal poverty level. That's $15,800. New Mexico, 5 years ago, raised that to 4 times the federal poverty level. They are getting better results in the K1 and 2-year-old right now because of that plan. So if we did a similar type of adoption, I think that we would see better results. Young children coming into kindergarten, properly trained to sit still for a minute, properly fed, properly stimulated, their brain developed, and we will have greater results by 3rd grade. Those children will be able to teach. But to do that, we need to supplement the classroom teacher with a reading specialist who takes little Jimmy where he is and advances him. Takes Susie where she is and advances her. The classroom teacher still teaches. The reading assistant targets those that are behind grade level.
Do you have an opinion on the Strong Readers Act that just passed the legislature last year? This is going to be our first year to see what it does.
No, I think the legislature is dialed in on this. I've been meeting with legislators for the last 3 years, knowing I was going to run for governor, knowing that this was a deficiency, and we've really got some great strategy going forward with our legislature.
Okay, another big question. Gentner Drummond is our guest. Your opponent, other people are saying you're secretly a Biden supporter. You gave all this money to his campaign.
It is laughable. Wendy and I have given several $100,000 to Republican candidates. We have never given to Joe Biden. There's a couple of really outstanding legislators in my past 20 years that I've supported that are Democrats, like Calvin Anthony out of Stillwater, Dan Boren out of Shawnee, some good men. Well, like President Trump, who supported Hillary Clinton when she ran for Senate. We've donated to a couple of Democrats, but we're staunch Republicans. There's no space between us and, frankly, the president. I support the president. I've been in the White House twice in the last 2.5 months. One, talking to the vice president about how we do Medicaid fraud enforcement better than any other state. And then before that, with the director of the FBI, Mr. Patel, and the attorney general, Mr. Blanche, wanting to know how is it that Oklahoma can break the back of organized crime? How are you doing that, Drummond? And I got to share that. So I am a supporter and an advocate for the Trump administration. It's unfortunate that I gave him $75,000 during his campaign. I should have given it to Roger Stone, who is the whisperer to the president that Mr. Mazie bought an endorsement with.
Well, and with the endorsements, we'll have to see what that means right now. Obviously, approval ratings are a little lower for the president right now. That happens during wartime and stuff like that. But, I talk all the time, and maybe you can speak to this. I'm a conservative Republican. I voted for Trump 3 times. I'm not happy with everything he does. It's almost as if we criticize one thing or say anything. I don't necessarily agree with that people say, oh, you're not MAGA.
Right. I mean, listen, I'm like you. I'm a conservative Republican. I am the president's best ally in law enforcement and border protection. The state of Oklahoma, we're the fifth highest in the nation of deportation of people in the state illegally. They're targeted by my organized crime task force when they're involved in illicit crime. So we have lots of Chinese nationals here that we need to deport. We have lots of Sinaloa cartel members we need to deport. We're busy doing that. So I'm aligned with President Trump and certainly promote his agenda. And I think he's going to enjoy working with me in the governor's office. I will tell you, the people that advocate for me that have taken public positions in support of me are like Anthony Moore, a remarkable leader in the House. People across the state respect Anthony Moore, and he's your representative. Yeah. Harold Wright, as we all know and love.
Who's that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a strong advocate of Gentner Drummond. So, my endorsements are coming from 45 representatives and senators, from over half of our sheriffs that have taken a public position. I have the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police, the fire department agencies across the state of Oklahoma, retired firemen, retired police officers, educators, public employees, the construction industry, every industry, the pharmacists, we can just go down the hospitals, the physicians groups are all supporting Drummond because they know I'm a serious candidate who will put Oklahoma first. I won't flip. I won't call all of our school leaders communist and socialist. I won't flip on property tax. I won't lie to you on income tax. And I won't flip with you on the smelter that I think we should talk about at some point.
Yeah, and I want to get to that next. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. Gentner Drummond, our Attorney General candidate for governor, is our guest on the Wake Up Show. Back with more right after this.
Maximize your chemical program with Helios Injection Systems, your partner in unmatched performance. Proudly engineered right here in Western Oklahoma, Helios pumps come with the backing of our dedicated team. From oil and gas wells to water treatment and industrial processes, Helios has the perfect solution for your needs. Discover what sets Helios apart. Visit HeliosPumps.com to see how we can elevate your operations.
Over 20,000 square feet of furniture and appliances at Tot Fest. David.
Harold, we are the one-stop shop. Literally, we have mattresses, furniture, and appliances. We've been here 80 years, and the reason we're here is because we service people after the sale.
A big tradition going on at Tot Fest for 80 years, folks. Shop at Tot Fest for all your furniture and appliances. Tot Fest, the best in quality, service, and price. Main corner, downtown Weatherford.
The Weatherford Chamber of Commerce is holding a State Senate Forum Tuesday night, August 4th at City Hall. Rick Cook and Jessica Weingart will answer questions important to local residents. If you can't make it in person, you can watch it live or on demand on WBS TV at Right.Media. That's WBS TV at Right.Media. Our live stream is made possible by CJ Southwest Tire, Veteran Towing, Bigfoot Roofing and Construction, and the Weatherford Chamber of Commerce. Catch the State Senate Forum Tuesday night, August 4th at 6:30 on Right.Media.
It's the hottest month of the year, and Cummins Ford Lincoln in Weatherford is turning up the heat with sizzling deals. The entire Ford lineup is on the lot, and everything's on fire with savings. Get rubber on the road in a new 2026 Ford F-150. Tough, powerful, and ready for anything Oklahoma throws your way. These red-hot savings won't last long. Race to Cummins Ford Lincoln today. Cummins Ford Lincoln in Weatherford, just off I-40, or online at CumminsFordWeatherford.com. Built Ford tough.
Senate District 26 needs a leader who understands our local economy, not someone learning on the job.
Western Oklahoma needs a leader who has a proven record of listening and accomplishing. For over 40 years, I've run successful businesses thanks to the great people here in District 26. Together, we can continue to do great things. Now I'm ready to serve as your next state senator.
For steady leadership and proven results, vote Rick Cook for State Senate.
Paid for by friends of Rick Cook 2026.
Okay, welcome back to the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. Our guest is Attorney General Gentner Drummond. Now, something that's been getting some headlines over the last month or so, there is a company out of the UAE that wanted to put an aluminum smelter plant in a city here in Oklahoma, and they said, hey, it's going to create a lot of jobs, but people have concerns about the environmental impact and things like that.
Let me address that. All candidates for governor were against the aluminum smelter in Inola, which is in Rogers County. At 10 o'clock on May 28, Mr. Mazie made a public statement that says, I support it. And 6.5 hours later, he got an endorsement. So let's unpack that. The president wants a smelter, and I'm happy for him. And I think that's wonderful. All the smelters in the United States that are operated by the operating company that's going to operate this one are fined and sued and penalized every year. Now, that's a problem. The principal owner of this smelter is a Muslim monarchy from the United Arab Emirates. The president's own words, they're the richest people in the world, but yet we, the president and the governor and Mr. Mazie, expect Oklahomans to underwrite this smelter with $1 billion of direct benefit, tax waivers, and tax increment financing districts. So we, the state of Oklahoma, are underwriting a Muslim monarchy, giving them 350 of our acres, and permitting them to take the hay capital of the world, which Inola is known as the hay capital of the world, and make it Tar Creek 2. And this is why. In its own application, it's saying it's going to produce 425 tons of particulate into the air every year. That's 1.5 tons a day of phosphorus compounds being blown into the air that will render no production of hay or agriculture within a 10-mile radius of that site. That will destroy Inola's agricultural production. Number two, it produces 55,000 gallons of wastewater every 2 hours.
Wow.
That's more than Weatherford produces in a day. Just think about that. That's that much wastewater. And it will produce 750,000 tons of sludge that we're going to have to figure out where to put. It's against the law in the United States to put it in the landfill. So I would suggest that we have been played a fool by the United Arab Emirates. Our governor has bitten into this, and Mr. Mazie sold out Oklahoma for this. Underwriting of a foreign country, giving them our land, and letting them pollute our property. They put their smelters in the desert, and they don't let any human being live within 5 miles. We have the Inola Public School within 3, the city of Inola within 3, 500 households within 5 miles of the smelter, and they don't even let it happen in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, I was going to ask if they have their own plants in their own country.
Yeah, they put them in the desert, and that's where we should put ours, in Nevada, Arizona, not Oklahoma.
Okay, we're talking with Attorney General Gentner Drummond, one of 2 Republican candidates running for governor, and that primary runoff is going to be on August 25th. Now, as you're traveling around, going from city to city, you were just at Weatherford Rotary last week and did a little meet and greet. What else are you hearing from constituents that are their concerns?
It is refreshing. Those that know Mr. Mazie are supporting me. That tells you something. He's not very pleasant to work with, and he's very arrogant. I'm just a simple hayseed from Hominy. Wendy and I live east of Hominy in Osage County on our cattle ranch. I was raised working long and hard hours on a cattle ranch and served our country 8 years as a fighter pilot, fought in the Gulf War. And between the war and serving as Attorney General, we have been richly blessed with 6 children, all of whom are now grown, married, and we have 7 grandchildren, an 8th on the way. And what Oklahomans are looking for is a generational leader that will put them first. And that is what I offer. I will not turn my back on education and degrade our educators. I will not turn my back on our production agriculture that pollute and support something that pollutes our land. I will not turn my back on our economy, our people, those that are on fixed income that need true relief. I'm the guy suing to stop the smelter. I'm the guy suing Allstate and State Farm, for example, who are driving up our property insurance premiums. We are twice the national average in Oklahoma, and our claims are 1/2 the national average. There's a problem. So I'm out there fighting. They love that about me, and they want a fighter that will defend them and put them first.
And I was going to ask you about the whole Allstate lawsuit and other companies with these ridiculous property insurance rates. Will these lawsuits be ongoing if you win the governorship? I mean, somebody else is going to continue on that same
Yes,
path?
because it is politically difficult to take on big companies, I will transfer these lawsuits into the governor's office.
Okay.
So that we don't have any problem. If you've been watching me, I don't do things that are in the best interest of my political career. I take on giants because they're hurting Oklahomans, and I will continue that as governor.
And we touched on this last time we talked, but also over the last 8 years, there's been kind of a wedge between the governorship and the tribes. And you have a different philosophy than the person that's in office right now, right?
Right. So, the Supreme Court ruled about 8 years ago that Native Americans living inside their tribal jurisdiction that hasn't been disintegrated are not subject to the state's prosecution. And the governor's made a big deal about that and sued them several times, lost every one of them. What I have done as the chief legal officer is built bridges with our tribes. So all other states have a disadvantage relative to Oklahoma. We have here in Oklahoma, we have feds just like they do, county, city, state agencies. But in Oklahoma, we also have tribal partners in law enforcement. They are we. We work together. We have cross-deputization agreements. We work hand in glove in the eradication of syndicated crime organizations and cartels in the state of Oklahoma. We have worked on an intergovernmental agreement that effectively lets Oklahoma cross-deputize our district attorneys and our judges so that they can adjudicate the tribal member in the name of the tribe and the state. And when they're incarcerated, instead of shipping them into a federal system in Leavenworth or Fort Worth, we keep them here, which lets the family stay together, unified. So the tribes love this idea. In return, they will open up rural health care and mental health facilities to non-tribal members. Folks, that's a win-win-win. We get to do what we do well. We save the tribes money in law enforcement and adjudication. They do what we need help with, and that is opening up health care clinics to non-tribal members. And we'll start with the big 5 tribes and the tribes in Ottawa County, but we will extend that across the state of Oklahoma so that the Cheyenne and Arapaho, the Comanche, all the tribes in the western part of the state are offered the same courtesy, and we will work together as one.
What about working together with the legislature? And it's not just Governor Stitt. I remember when Mary Fallin was in office, sometimes, even though we have Republican control of both houses of the legislature and a Republican governor, sometimes, and I get it, you're not going to agree on everything, but it just seems like there's been more infighting within our party from the 3 branches.
Right. I mean, I'm a student of history and the Constitution. So 2 takeaways here. One, from the Constitution, we know that the people, when we drafted our Constitution, transferred their power to the legislature. So Anthony Moore represents you, your interests. He's the legislator. On the executive branch side, we simply execute the laws that are passed. So we have to keep things in balance. Legislature makes laws. The governor partners with them and then executes those laws. That's what's been missing for sure the last 8 years. We've had a former CEO telling legislators, hey, you're my board members, you obey me. And they don't. They don't like that. I've worked inside the legislature with them to build these bridges and these relationships. I mean, my goodness, without me asking, 40 legislators have stepped out and said, I'm voting for Gentner Drummond, and here's why. Led by Anthony Moore. So that's a lesson from our Constitution. From history, we see if the governor comes in arrogantly and tries to tell them how the cow ate the cabbage, they're going to respectfully disagree and ignore him. And we can have this kind of acrimony. I will never veto legislation that I haven't sat down with the legislators in advance and said, guys, here's why I can't support it. Please tweak this or that. Not arrogantly veto it with a tweet. That's what we've gotten. The record number of vetoes last year by Governor Stitt is a testimony to his ineffectiveness as a governor.
We're talking with Attorney General Gentner Drummond, who is a candidate for governor. Couple of minutes left. Any other topic you want to make sure that we let our listeners know about?
Well, I do. You mentioned it earlier. When I took office, we had over 12,000 marijuana grow facilities in the state of Oklahoma. That was primarily syndicated crime organizations from China and cartels from Mexico. I formed an organized crime task, and we took the battle to them. And now there are fewer than 1,400. That is 10,600 closed, billions of dollars of black market marijuana off the street, thousands of pounds of fentanyl, human trafficking, sex trafficking, underground casinos, all shut down. I will continue that through my term. The Attorney General who succeeds me, more likely than not John Echols, will stand on my shoulders and take it from there. But the parting comment to your listeners is this. You will not agree with me 100% of the time, but you can trust me 100% of the time.
All right. Well, how can people get more information about your campaign?
We have a website, drummondok.com. You can go on that. You can see podcasts. You can see policy statements, like you mentioned. If you're inclined to volunteer for the campaign, knock on doors, put out yard signs, go to rallies, support financially, those are all there available for you. I will be the people's governor. So very honored to be your Attorney General, and will be honored to have your vote on August 25.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by, and good luck August 25th.
Great. Thank you, Todd.
It's Gentner Drummond, our guest this morning on the Wake Up Show. Back with more right after this. Tired of the same old house hunt? It's time for a momentum shift with Momentum Homes in Weatherford. Built tough with Oklahoma pride, Momentum Homes offers quality, comfort, and down-home style. Perfect for families, first-timers, or anyone ready to upgrade. From foundation to finish, they're building homes that last. Just honest work, great design, and a place you'll be proud to call home. Visit MomentumHomes.com to start your shift today. Momentum Homes. Let's get moving.
Hello, this is Rick Spain with Infinite Grace Ministries with something to think about. You may have heard the quote, get all you can all you get, and eat the rest. There's no doubt we are all selfish by nature. We seem to overlook another's pain because of our own. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you doesn't forget about you. It just puts you in the proper perspective. The greatest remedy for personal pain is to help others in their pain.
All right, welcome back to the Western Oklahoma Wake Up Show. 80 degrees out there. We got John joining us from the News Center.
Hello, Sid. Sir. Sorry, sir.
Hello.
Did you ask Mr. Drummond? That's cool, getting him on the radio. Did you ask him about the whole Munson? Just said that the Republicans have been in charge the last 20 years and we're currently last in education and last in whatever else stat I remember she said.
Oh, yeah. The same talking points that Cindy Munson always says.
Oh, don't you talk about her that way.
You know
That's my
what?
vote right
Hey,
now. Both those other Republicans are nuts.
I don't like any of them.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
So that's just me, but people will have to decide. But let's you know why we're ranked 50th in education?
Why?
Because of Oklahoma City Public Schools and Tulsa Public Schools.
Okay.
If you take those two urban districts who, let's just say the brightest and the ones that have means end up in private schools in those areas, okay? Urban public schools are troubled, and there's many reasons for that, but they do horrible on standardized tests, and they have excessive absenteeism and all that. So if you take out Oklahoma City and Tulsa public schools, we're in the top 10 in the nation in public schools for the most part.
I kind of believe you, but you're telling me there's no other urban areas in any other states? So we're still 50. Every state.
Yeah. But, once again, it's school district by school districts, and every district has different problems. Are there things we need to fix? Absolutely. And if we kick the teachers' unions out, the OEA is as bad as the NEA. About the only people around here that are members of the OEA that are teachers, it's just so they get a better benefit package. Most of them don't subscribe to the liberal ideology of the National Teachers Union. And remember Alicia Priest, head of the Oklahoma Teachers Union.
Saw her when they were on strike.
Yeah, well, and here's what they did. They wanted more money. The legislature gave them a raise, but fat Alicia Priest said, let's go on strike anyway. We got what we wanted, but let's go on strike and cause chaos. And she's also one of the people that wanted to shut down schools during COVID, which was stupid.
Oh, yeah.
So, look, are there issues with public education? Yeah, there's problems with education at all levels. It starts at home, guys.
I agree.
You got to read to your kids. You got to be involved. You got to make your kids go to school. You got to make your kids do homework. But you know what? Here's the problem. We have illiterate parents having multiple kids.
Yeah.
And what happens to children of illiterate parents? They are illiterate too. I mean, it's just society.
That makes sense. I thought you were going to say it's because the legislature keeps acting as a school board and extending school days and having to make classroom tablet rules and having cell phone. They don't trust the school boards of these local areas to make rules for the schools.
Yeah, you know what? We talk about local control, but then there's certain things school districts don't want to control. They want to leave it up to the legislature.
That's
so,
true.
I mean, there's an argument both ways. Hey, it ain't perfect.
Sorry, I'm
but you
grumpy.
know what? I'll put our public education in Western Oklahoma up against anybody in the country. I just will.
I'll give you that.
I
just
will.
not the state. Not the whole state
We're
as a
not
whole.
50th. Quit believing. We always say 50th in health, 50th in. You know what? Oklahoma is okay.
Well, thank you for the abbreviation.
You're
lesson.
welcome.
That's good. Good morning. It is a Wednesday. Oh, man. Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. News this morning brought to us by Bar S. Only the best is branded Bar S. The big story this hour, firefighters from Clinton and the surrounding area worked a barn and hay fire northwest of Clinton yesterday, says Fire Chief Mark Schweitzer.
We had approximately 500 round bales within a barn. They were alfalfa. Not completely certain what caused it, but it looks like they just got hot and combusted. We did get all of the bales removed from the barn.
Chief Schweitzer says extensive damage was sustained to the barn. No injuries were reported. Oklahoma House Speaker Kyle Hilbert and Representative Nick Archer of Elk City are speaking out following the announcement from the U.S. Department of Energy saying Oklahoma is one of 5 Nuclear Life Cycle Innovation Campus finalists. Representative Archer says the designation would be a major win for Oklahoma and a testament to the partnerships built to showcase our state's potential. Archer further says establishing a Nuclear Life Cycle Innovation Campus here would create new opportunities for economic growth, technological advancement, and American energy independence. Southwestern Oklahoma State University has an increase in enrollment for the upcoming school year, says President Dr. Joel Kendall.
In some key areas, we're really up in enrollment, and that's what we're happy about, especially first-time, full-time freshmen. Those are the students who are coming right out of high school, moving onto campus, and so those numbers are strong. I think our residence halls numbers are going to be the strongest they've been in many years. A lot of kids on campus. Those are the ones who stay in town. They go to the football games. They go downtown. That just brings the college atmosphere more and more to Weatherford. So we're happy about that number.
Dr. Kendall says enrollment increases are also shown in various areas of study, including pharmacy, allied health, and nursing. Officials with Gary Public Schools say the district has been awarded a $25,000 Oklahoma Local Food for Schools Fiscal Year 2027 grant through the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture and Food and Forestry. The funding will allow the district to purchase fresh, Oklahoma-grown and raised foods from approved vendors, meaning more nutritious meals for students while also supporting Oklahoma producers. We'll have more news coming up next.
Bar S is proud of our long-standing ability to provide quality products across the United States, and we are looking for great team members to help us with our mission. General production workers and maintenance workers are needed. Maintenance pay is based on experience. Bar S offers weekly pay and great benefits. Advancement and promotion opportunities are available for those who work hard and have good attendance. Bar S is a proud supporter of Western Oklahoma. To apply, stop by the plant at 200 Locust in Clinton.
The Thomas Public Works Authority is reminding all city water customers to limit water use to household needs only. Officials ask residents to not fill pools, no sprinkling or irrigating lawns, and no other non-essential water use. The Public Works Authority is currently in the process of replacing water wells, and conserving water is critical to maintaining reliable service for everyone in the community. Officials expect to have the project completed in the next 2 weeks. Custer County OSU Extension Director Ashlyn Hutter recently shared results of nitrate levels in livestock feed.
We have been seeing a lot of nitrate tests come in to send off, with a lot of those nitrates being over that safe 3,000 parts per million threshold to be safe to feed to breds. I know we personally got a test back and it was at 10,000 parts per million, so that is completely unsafe to feed. Our next option is to sell it for grinding. We're seeing quite a few of those come in. Still not the highest numbers that OSU has said that they've seen come in, but with everything the way it's been, nitrates are definitely up and present.
Hunter says there are still some issues with sulfate levels in some pond and well waters in the state. She says the lack of rain has not helped correct the water table. With ongoing construction along Interstate 40 exit 65-65A near Clinton, Mayor David Barong says the project is part of his reasoning for seeking re-election as mayor.
It's kind of the unexpected little miracle. Well, that's why I decided to run for office again. One of the reasons, I mean, it's such a baby to me, and what I had the privilege of being in a leadership role and making sure the design was what the people had wanted, and that's been 8 years ago. And now coming to fruition is what so many people believe is just the opportunity for Clinton to spring back from an economic standpoint.
Barong says the construction project continues to be ahead of schedule. That's KCLI News. Western Oklahoma funeral notices are next.